Hello everyone, my name is Paul Third, and this week I want to talk to you about a very specific pair of headphones that I've been using for well over a year. I have intentionally left a playlist that's got all the mixing on headphone videos that I've made and all the detail that you need regarding headphone amps and DACs and mixing to Harman and why I don't advise using Sonarworks for headphone correction, blah, blah, blah. It's all in the description. Now, that's important because when I discuss headphones on this channel moving forward for mixing, I'm always going to be referencing their sound to Harman. If you're unsure how to EQ headphones to Harman, it's all in that playlist, okay? All links are in the description. Right, with all that out the way, right, let's talk about these. These are the Hifiman Ananda Nanos. These are the fastest headphones that I've ever heard, and I've tried a shit ton of headphones. I've got the Hifiman HE1000 SEs, I've got the Odyssey MX4s, I've heard LCDX, I've heard the Odyssey closebacks, I've heard the NDH30s, I've heard Bear Dynamics, Olos, Sonys, Austrian Audios, nearly most headphones on the market. And none of them offer as clean, as detailed, and as fast low-end and transient response as these. Now, the reason that these planar magnetic headphones are so incredibly fast is due to the fact that their diaphragm is a nanometer thickness. It is super, 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 super thin. Which means that these are super, super fast, but also super, super, super clean due to the planar magnetic design. It is amazing when you're mixing on these, just how much detail you can hear between bass and kick. Arguably the two most crucial things when you're mixing in most genres. When it comes to vocals, you can hear vocal clicks. You can hear anything that you wouldn't want to hear, this is going to highlight it. These could be a little bit dangerous for that because they're so fast and so unbelievably detailed. And so unbelievably detailed in the mid-channel that it's easy for you to get distracted. You can normally start to find that you will maybe start to over-DS with these because S's will poke out more. You might maybe start to compress a little bit more because you're hearing more transients than you do on other headphones. Normally, if I'm struggling with levels, I'll normally go to these. A great example of that was when I was mixing on the Focal Shape 65s. I was going through a speaker journey and I purposely didn't reference on the Ananda Nanos at all. Now, I was struggling with the low end of the Shape 65s and it took me ages. I was back and forth. I probably must have spent an hour back and forth just trying to get the low end to sit right with the kick and the bass, but especially the bass. I stuck these on and I would say not even a minute. It only took me, I'd say 40 seconds to get the bass level right and to make a few tweaks on the kick and the bass. And I had the bass and the kick perfect, in my opinion. To the point where I remember I sent it to Ed Thorne. He said to me, Paul, this is the best mix you've ever done. The focal shapes weren't getting me there, but the final tweak in the low end with these did it. Now, even with the snare, I was a little bit unsure about the snare level. The focal shapes have very good phase coherence, so it did allow me to get, the snare sounding right to what I thought sounded good in the room. And on these, it just was very, very punchy. I was like, oh, wow, this is a very, very punchy mix. But if you've watched my channel, you'll know why I didn't keep the Focal Shape 65s, because that's not the way. And it didn't sound as punchy in the room as it did on these. And I know if something sounds punchy on these, then it sounds punchy on other systems, which just so happened to be the case when I tried the Focal Shape mix on other systems. Ed loves that. He's a drummer. He loves that sound. But what I can tell you is when you mix on these, because there is so much detail in the center channel, the center image, what you're going to find is that if you want something to sound punchy, all you have to do is get them to sound punchy on this and it will work. If you are struggling with your bass, stick these on. It'll tell you everything that you need to know. You'll be able to hear exactly what's clashing in the low end, the tightness and the detail and the definition of the low end. You can just hear everything. You can hear what's clashing. You could make such small adjustments in the low end with these. Ed goes as far. No, I don't say that. I kind of do. But Ed had the bottle to go as far on the Working Audio Tools podcast to say that these are like wearing a pair of PMCs on your head. And I'd kind of agree with him because in speaker terms, the PMCs are the punchiest speakers I've ever heard. The low end on PMCs are arguably the fastest and the tightest. that I've ever heard. Everything just sounds super fast and punchy and just forward and in your face, which is these. However, the downside to these is that with the center image being so focused, you kind of lose the soundstage. I find panning to be a little bit difficult with these. I always find that I'm pushing the side image a little bit too much for things to sound the way that I want to hear them. And then what I'll do is I'll put them on speakers and I'll be like, oh wow, the guitars are too loud. You know what I mean? Anything I've got left and right, it's like, oh, it's a little bit too much. And I'll lose the center image a little bit. And that's why normally you'll find me mixing on the HE1000 SEs and now the Odyssey MX4s. The Odyssey MX4s are a perfect middle ground between the two. They give you a really good soundstage as well as really kind of tight transient response and really kind of nice tight low end, but nowhere as clean and as tight and as fast as these. And this is why I always recommend the Ananda Nanos to be used for a specific purpose. If you're on speakers, buy these, mix your low end on them. If you have something, say like the Kalis, for example, right? You've got like the Kali LPs, Kali INs. They don't have great transient response. So you could mix on speakers, but if you're kind of wanting to judge your compression more effectively and just judge your transients better, you can do most of your mixing on the Kalis, switch to these and you can judge your vocal levels, kick levels, snare levels. You can judge your compression and you can really judge what the transients are actually doing that's in that mix. Build-wise, I think they're great. I've had these for over a year and they've been through the wars. Like they've been in my bag. I've taken them to London with me. I've used these almost fucking daily for over a year. And the build quality is fine. Again, they're sturdy. Like I don't have any issues. Somebody messaged me to say that they'd read that experts online were saying that the build quality was shit. But I've had them for over a year. Used them constantly. And I listen loud. I listen between 80 to 85 dB SPL through my topping DX7 Pro Plus, which is arguably fucking the best measuring DAC amp on the market. So I listen loud and I pretty much abuse these. Emre Çelik is my mentor, Emre Çelik, who is an award-winning engineer with now over 2 billion streams. He mixes and masters on these, as well as a few other things. But he loves these and he always puts these back in their case when he's not using them. So sorry, Emre. I know he's going to be raging that I've got those scuffs. But they're workhorses. That's what they're for. But yeah, these retail for around £450, which is half the price of like your LCDXs and a few other headphones. And you know, I find it funny because many people will gawk at the price and be like, no, these can't be as good as LCDXs. They're half the price. I think the more engineers pick them up, I think the price probably will go up. But, you know, that's just the way China are right now. You know, China are just making higher quality products than many European and American brands, and they're charging less because they can. So, yeah, if you want to hear my mixes, check out tsoundstudio.com. I've got a portfolio on there. I'd like to say, I'm pretty sure all of the mixes on there were like 70% mixed on these, with some referencing on the HE1000 SEs and some of the speakers that I had in at the time. Try them out. Ultra low distortion, super fast, super clean, detail retrieval like I've never heard on any other pair of headphones. And yeah, try them out. Make sure you mix on Harman to them, for God's sake. So yes, this is going to be a series that I do where I talk about headphones specifically for mixing, give you my advice on them. And I don't know, next might be the Odyssey MX4s. I don't know if I still maybe need a bit of time on them. I've done 2 or 3 mixes on them. I might do the HEs next. And there you have it. My name's Paul Third, and I'll see you whenever I see you.